Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Screen Scene Guru, and today I'll be discussing some movie news and television projects that have recently come up. Really fascinating episode today. I've gathered up my news notes from just about 3 days now, and I'd like to go over them with you. If you guys are checking out the thumbnail, then you'd like to see the Mandalorian Grogu image and the new script that they've been teasing from James Gunn for Man of Tomorrow. A lot of people are speculating it will be Brainiac as the villain, so that's really cool. Going into my notes real quick. So, major update right here from Stephen King. They did drop the itwelcometoderry trailer. This is the second trailer they've dropped on HBO Max. You guys can check it out yourselves. I think it's a fantastic look at the trailer. Really excited for the show. I believe it drops in October on HBO Max. They did reference Shawshank Prison in the trailer. There was a bus headed to Shawshank, which I thought was very fascinating. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it turned 31 years old this year. So very fascinating stuff there. I'm hoping for a re-release, or at least some kind of maybe if they connect the worlds between Shawshank and it, that would be really cool. Not sure if they'll do that exactly, but it would be really awesome. Or maybe some other Stephen King universe projects like Stand By Me and The Long Walk or something else. So going on, one of my other topics today I'll have to discuss is Disney Plus is increasing its prices for its streaming service. Very interesting stuff here. It's going up by $2. That's because of the recent Thunderbolts release on streaming. And of course, we are getting our Fantastic Four in just a few weeks. So I'm really excited about that. I didn't go out to the theater to check that one out. I waited till it would drop on streaming. But yeah, very interesting that, Disney is in a bit of controversy because of this price hike. And of course, they discontinued Jimmy Kimmel's show. They did, in fact, bring him back, which caused a very high viewership spike, which is awesome. But let me just mark off these notes real quick so I know what I've been talking about. Discuss the Shawshank Redemption news, the Disney price hike in streaming, despite, the fans not really being on the same page as them. So let's see. Wicked for Good trailer, really awesome. This gives us a little bit more of a story in the trailer. Some people are going into it blind without seeing any marketing, kind of like the first movie, which I recommend. It's good, but I also like the lore that they're expanding upon in this Wicked franchise. I do think this is going to be the last one. I don't know if they're going to do a third movie, but I do like that the story is going to have a follow-up in November. So very exciting news there. Second trailer for Wicked for Good was really good. Okay, done with that story. Now we've got the Jimmy Kimmel news. So going into this, we've got Jimmy Kimmel will return to television after the FCC tried to cancel him. Disney is setting up Kimmel to run the show himself on the Disney Plus network. So that's very interesting. We're not sure exactly if he's going to be coming back to ABC or the other 20th century networks like Nexstar and others. They're still trying to push him out because they want to do a big merger deal, even though that's technically illegal. They're trying to get on the good side of the FCC to let their merger go through. But yeah, very interesting stuff going on there with Kimmel. He did get a really big viewership audience. Real quick, let me look and see, because I got a couple other notes in here. It might be on the other page. Yeah, right here. Jimmy Kimmel had a tremendous audience return with, 2 million averaging. So that's pretty good. 2 million audience. And then in the first 24 hours, he was able to get 16 million on Netflix. Or not Netflix, sorry, YouTube, streaming his opening monologue. So 16 million is pretty good, on top of the 2 million that he already got. So yeah, he's reaching quite a wide audience. trending, if you will, Jimmy Kimmel. Also, Christopher Nolan is supposed to be taking up the mantle of president of the Directors Guild, the DGA of America, which is very interesting news. I've been kind of critiquing Christopher Nolan on the channel about, choosing to shoot his film, The Odyssey, in a controlled zone, sort of a dictatorship area. But yeah, this is very interesting news to hear about Christopher Nolan. He is a good filmmaker. Recently, in the last few years, he's been helping others make their films without him asking for money, so that has led them to choose him as the next president. 007 speculation. We know that Denis Villeneuve is going to finish his Dune Part 3 before he chooses to look for the cast, the leading male role for our 007. So he's basically confirmed the search begins in 2026. So very interesting stuff there. I know a lot of people are hyped and anticipated for that. And it is going to be released through Amazon MGM, which is very fascinating as well. We're hoping that the movie quality, whether it's a TV show or what, will be there. Then we're going on to Tron Ares promo with the cast was recently televised, and it's teasing that there could be multiple projects, that this is just the first in a trilogy. Now, Tron has been trying to launch its own trilogy since the beginning. Very fascinating news with physical media, because there is a new 4K transfer coming out for the original Tron. There is already one out for Tron Legacy, but the fact that they've gone back and re-upscaled the lighting and the graphics for the original is very cool. Just going on from there, Disney chose to put Jimmy Kimmel sketch back on Disney Plus. Talked about how that all went down, big viewership, even though the cable networks didn't want to air him because they are conservative ran, and they are capitulating to the current administration that doesn't like him. So that's very fascinating. PlayStation State of Play happened just 2 days ago, so I do want to talk about that real quick. I was going to do a separate video. I might still do a separate video on it. Be sure to check that out. But we did get the first real gameplay of the new Halloween game, which looks really awesome, with Michael Myers running around the town. He's able to break into people's homes, stalk them, basically do everything from the movie Halloween. There is a new feature now that they call time skip, I believe, or something like that, where Michael Myers goes invisible and the people of the town can't see him. It's also a way you can get around the map much quicker. This is going to be a controversial move for people that, like the movie franchise and love the horror element of it. They're tired of seeing Michael Myers just walk everywhere. Now they've got this element in the game to where he can be instantly anywhere on the map. So, very fascinating stuff. Then we've got Square Enix The Wolverine game that also dropped its trailer. I kind of wish they would have done something different with the art design. It's just a yellow cover with Wolverine. Very reminiscent of the latest Mortal Kombat cover with Scorpion. But I did like all of the graphics they have. It's rated M for mature. We heard about this game 4 years ago, and we haven't seen anything about it. And now it's coming out in fall of 2026. So very fascinating stuff there. So yeah, talk about that. Open world. Both these games are going to be open world, which is probably why it took so long to get them done. You're going to be wandering around the map a lot, doing side missions. Now moving on to Witcher Season 4. We've got that coming out at the end of October 31st. Witcher Season 4 is reportedly costing $27 million per episode, which is the most expensive television show ever made, which I thought was really fascinating given that we're living now in an age of streaming and all these shows. To give you guys kind of a reference list, let's see. Season 4, yeah, it's going to be the most expensive show. Let's see, do we have those? numbers back here? Yeah, right here. So, my notes are kind of jobbled, guys, but stick with me here. To give you guys an example as some of the most expensive shows ever, we've got Rings of Power from Prime, which was 180 or 85 million. 85 million for that show, season 1. Season 2, of course, cost more. That was around 150 million. Citadel, which I didn't watch. I heard about it, but I didn't watch it. That cost 50 million. Secret Invasion cost $35 million. Season 4 of Stranger Things, the latest season, it cost around $30 million. So yeah, it's just fascinating to hear that they spent way more money on Witcher Season 4 than all of those shows. I don't know why Netflix did it, but Netflix has the money to burn, so they apparently are burning it. But yeah, going into that Wolverine game, we get to see a lot more X-Men tie-ins. We get Mystique. There is going to be Omega Red as a villain in the video game as well. Wolverine will face off against robot soldiers and Sentinels. So that's a really fun thing to add to the game, the Sentinels aspect. We're not sure if we're going to get Nimrod or Master Mold in the game, but it does look like there are some advanced Sentinels in the game. So that's very interesting. Talked about Michael Myers having an invisibility feature in the game, which some people may like or may not. Talk about the Welcome to Derry trailer. Marvel's Zombies is out now, and I'm hearing mixed reviews about it. I'm hearing it was a good story overall, but it doesn't have anything to do with the MCU. Similar to What If and these other animated features they've made, like Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and others. It just doesn't have anything to do with what's going on right now. It is a cool story, though. I do want to check it out. It's trending, so that's very fascinating. Zach Kreger, the director of Barbarian and Weapons this year, has confirmed to Warner Brothers that he wants to do a prequel story about Aunt Gladys. So it's very fascinating about her origins and where she came from. Some people are wondering if that's going to take away the mystique and the horror element of Weapons, and he's promising that it will not. So that's really cool, given that we just heard in my last video about Paul Walter Hauser joining the cast of Resident Evil on Zach Kreger's new project. So that's really fun. They've recently confirmed Fox is going to reboot Baywatch with the all-new young original cast. This is, of course, the Pamela Anderson launching point of her career. Also, David Hasselhoff was in the original. Really big, iconic show. So the fact that they're going back at it and rebooting it is really fascinating. The network is planning on a 2026 or 2027 release, depending on when they start shooting it. Then we've got talked about how Witcher was so expensive, right? Wondering why they wanted to put all this money into a Witcher series. I'm guessing it's because it's the final one. Season 4 is going to be its finale, which I kind of wondered, why couldn't they keep Henry Cavill as the lead? He was voicing the lead in the animated cartoon specials. At least in one of them, I believe he voiced Geralt. And then he just left and let Liam Hemsworth come in to do this final season. Which I get Liam Hemsworth needs the work, but don't put him into a role we already have established. Come on. Going on from there, we talked about prices of shows that are just ridiculous. Insomniac Games released the first two the first two Spider-Man games, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, which had phenomenal, fantastic storytelling, graphics. So it looks like the Insomniac universe, Marvel Games universe, is building with this Wolverine game coming. They did confirm we were going to get a Blade game set in Paris, 1920s. I don't know what's happening with that. It's probably going to be a few more years before we hear about that. But really cool. I talked about how they introduced Mystique and Omega Red. in the storyline, so that's all done. And how Denis Villeneuve is working on Dune 3 before he starts work on the new 007 project, and how they have the Peaky Blinders writer attached to help craft the script. Apparently, Black Panther 3 is set to go into production as soon as they wrap up Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I'm hearing they're getting closer and closer. Right now, Avengers Doomsday is in pre-production, so they're just filling in the scenes with the cameos of people that are going to be coming at reshoots, a lot of reshoots, and then they still have to do the post-credit scene, which I've heard is going to be a 2-part post-credit. So that's very interesting. Then we've got, done with all of this, Lam McChary voices the character of Wolverine and does the motion capture, which a lot of people would recognize Lam McChary from Spartacus. He came in to fill in the role from the original actor after he died in a skiing accident. He was the second Spartacus actor to come in, and he finished off the series, which I love the Spartacus series. So if you guys have checked that out, definitely check out him. I love his acting style, and the fact that he's our new Logan in the game is very fascinating. So yeah, talk about how they're teasing that, Logan's been on the run for many years. It does look like he's able to ride his motorcycle in the game. He has his iconic yellow suit, which is something the fans have wanted forever. Omega Prime Sentinels are in the game, so these are more advanced robotics than humans. These are soldiers who've had full augmented bodies. All they have really is a head, a human head, and the rest of them is a fully augment. So they call those Omega Prime Sentinels, possibly being sent by Nimrod. So that's very fascinating. We haven't gotten him in the video games yet. Or Master Mold to destroy the mutants. So very interesting stuff. I would like that very much if that's the story for the game. Because the last Wolverine game we got was Origins, which I didn't get to play, but I heard a lot of it was temple searching through temples and finding relics, fighting soldiers, but they were just human soldiers, and they couldn't go very much into the graphics of that. This one's guaranteed to show a lot of blood. So yeah, it looks like talking about Jimmy Kimmel's viewership got really big numbers. 2 million off of his broadcast, and then another 16 million off of streaming on YouTube. So that's really good. Marvin Jones has joined the cast. Marvin Jones III, who was in Black Lightning. He's also voiced the role of Tombstone in Across the Spider-Verse, and he's going to play a role in Beyond the Spider-Verse. He's now confirmed to be a live-action villain for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and this is the first animated to live-action villain we've gotten from the Spider-Verse, Tombstone, and he's made his way all the way up to facing off against Spider-Man, where all the other characters we got from Sony, Morbius, Venom, who had 3 films, and Madam Web, none of them were really connected to Spider-Man, where now they're connecting Tombstone. So that's very fascinating, because he's a very low crime villain, down to the street level villain. Fire and Ash dropped its second trailer, which looked really good story trailer. I'll probably discuss that more in the coming months when it gets closer to dropping. They are re-releasing Way of Water, the second film, in October for I believe 2 weeks, and it's going to have an extended end sequence setting people up for Fire and Ash. So yeah, that's really cool. Going on from there, we got the first real announcement of Spaceballs 2. They had a cast sit down reading the script photo op, which was kind of homage to when they were taking notes and sitting down and reading the script for Force Awakens. It looks just like that photo. So that's really cool. Rick Moranis came back out of retirement to do the role. He teamed up with Bill Pullman, Mel Brooks, and everyone else, a new cast, to come and talk about the movie, so that's really good news. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is set to have a new release date. It's now a week earlier than it was. It's set for June 18th, 2027. So really fascinating stuff there, guys. We hope that they keep that release date and it doesn't move anymore. Moving on, we've got just a little bit left. Amazon revealed its first photo of Spaceballs, as I discussed. Rick Moranis was there, Bill Pullman, Mel Brooks, and more. So really fascinating stuff there. They are going ahead and moving forward with that project. I did hear that Amazon MGM is working on a Robin Hood series, which is also really fascinating. I like Robin Hood, especially for the times we're living in. It's about time for another reboot. Speaking of reboots, it seems like there was something else. Land of the Lost is being done up on Netflix. And a few other shows that are kind of interesting. I mentioned Baywatch. This is going to be the third go of it for Baywatch. I'm trying to think of what else there is that's coming. But I'll probably bring it up in my next video. But be sure to like the page, comment down below what your thoughts are. You can share the video if you like. And be sure to check out my pages on Instagram, TikTok, and on Threads for future content at Screen Scene Guru. But until next time, guys, I'll let you go. And I'll say bye-bye. Have a good one.